I'm Everett McCorvey, and I'm happy to have as my guest today almost Dr. Tanyaradzwa Tawengwa. Tanyaradzwa is in her third year of her doctoral work at the University of Kentucky, and luckily for us, she's not only a doctoral student here, but a rising composer, activist, performer, singer throughout the world. How many of our doctoral students have already had works performed at Carnegie Hall, had operas premiered? Well, Tanyaradzwa has. Tanyaradzwa, we are delighted to have you here.
Thank you, Dr. McCorvey. Hi, everybody. I'm Tanyaradzwa Tawengwa, and as my beloved teacher and mentor just said, I am a third-year doctoral student here at the University of Kentucky. I am from Zimbabwe, and I have just had such an incredible time at the University of Kentucky. I started off with Dr. McCorvey as my voice teacher, and now I have the incredible Dr. Angelique Clay as my teacher as well. And I call my vocal team, which also includes Professor Cliff Jackson and had Professor Nan McSwain, I call my team the Dream Team. So I am so happy, Dr. McCorvey, or Doc, as I love to call you, to be talking to you today.
Well, you know, I think that we talk a lot about the fact that it takes a village to raise a child. And I think that it's the same in performing, is that it's a village. It's not just one person. The beauty of what we do here is that we can tag team and we can have people who have specialties in different areas come forth to help students so that they are learning something from all of the professors. So I'm very excited about that. I'd love to go back way to the beginning, and let's start with how we met and how that magic all started. And tell us about that. Tell us about your undergraduate degree. Tanyaradzwa, when did you come to the United States?
I came to the United States in 2008. So I just finished, sort of finished high school in Zimbabwe, and I was awarded a scholarship to an international school called the United World College. It's a group of 16 colleges around the world, and I went to the one in Montezuma, New Mexico. So I was there for 2 years, and after that time, I was admitted into Princeton, and so I went to Princeton University, and I studied music composition there and had minors in French and vocal performance. For the first 2 years of my undergraduate degree, I was also pre-medicine because I wanted to be an OBGYN. And so it's interesting because I feel like everything I've wanted is all related to how I view music and music making, which is for healing, you know, and making people feel healing. So I still feel in the songs that I sing and the music that I make that's the work I still do, but with my voice. Yeah.
You know, I would say that that's probably a really good way of describing you, that music is not just a technical exercise for you. It is used for healing, and not just in medicine, but in all parts of the world and atmosphere. So I think that's great. Continue.
Thank you. And so after Princeton, I did the artist thing and moved to New York. And it was pretty incredible, pretty terrifying. I have so many stories of serendipity. It really felt like a magical 2 years where I could not tell what the next day would hold for me. And I felt like I was really just walking in faith that the right doors would be opened. I don't know. I mean, it just took so much courage, and I look back to myself and I'm like, wow, yeah. Sometimes it really does take being young and adventurous to take those kinds of jumps, but I would not change a thing. And I just remember it was one of those day after day, just in New York, not knowing what was going to happen, really feeling like starting to feel scared actually, because like, how am I going to stay afloat? What's going to happen? And then one evening, I got an email from my former voice teacher at Princeton, David Kellett. And it was an audition announcement for the American Spiritual Ensemble. And he said to me, you might like this, check this out.
Yes.
So I think you were asking Doc for whether it was 2 arias or two spirituals. I know it was 4 selections in total.
Yes, that's right.
And I really wanted to sing Balm in Gilead because it's a piece that I had sung a lot at Princeton and the Glee Club. And so I decided that I was going to accompany myself on the mbira, which is this instrument that I've been talking about, this Zimbabwean instrument, and that I would sing Balm in Gilead, accompanying myself. And, I was like, the mbira has been such a door opener for me. So maybe this is ancestral magic and it's going to get me this gig. So I'm just going to take it like I've taken it to all my auditions and just show up authentically me and see what happens. I remember walking in, and I will tell you, as somebody who had done a lot of open calls in New York at that time, the first thing that literally took my breath away was to be in an audition with so many Black faces on the other side of the table. That had not happened in my 2 years in New York.
Isn't that something? That's very interesting.
It's the first thing. I remember you. I remember Dr. Gerald Cunningham Fleming. I remember Kenny. I remember Sequina.
Yes.
I remember everybody.
Yes.
And I just remember sitting there, just standing there, and I was not afraid.
Wow. That's amazing.
There was just something about it. And then I pulled out my mbira and I sang Balm in Gilead. And then I remember you your head kind of turned sideways and you had a smile on your face. And I was so nervous. I was like, whew, that's done. Thank God, that went well. And then you did the thing that I think everyone auditioning is terrified of. You said, I'm going to call Peggy from outside and can you sing that again? And I was like, oh no.
I had decided by then that you had the job. So I was just, I wanted Peggy to hear you because I had made the decision that I was going to hire you. So that was a good thing. But I'm sure it was also nerve-wracking.
It's like, pipes, don't fail me now. Come on, one more time. But of course, the beauty of being able to play an instrument that I feel so comfortable with and sing a piece that I love is that it wasn't hard to do it again. It was just my mind. But, that's why it's so wonderful to be able to sing and present music that's so connected to, at least for me, because then I never get nervous because like you say, I have something to say. Yeah. And so it was fine. when I started to sing again, it felt so good.
Well, I have to tell you that when you started singing with the mbira and I heard the beautiful sounds, these were sounds that I had heard before. I don't know if I heard them through my ancestors or where. Obviously, our other connection with Dumasadi Marieri, and that was my first introduction to the mbira. But I also just so taken by the beauty of the instrument, by how it spoke to me, and of course, how you use the words, which were also words of our ancestors through the spirituals. And so it was quite moving for me. I'd love for you to tell our audiences about the mbira.
So it's mbira, M-B-I-R-A. This one is called Nyunga Nyunga, and it is found all over the continent of Africa. But specific to what is today, present day Zimbabwe, we have many different types. And the types that I play are the Nyunga Nyunga, which is this one, and Nari, which is also known as mbira Zawadzimu, which means the mbira for the ancestors. And the reason it has such a profound name is because this instrument is used in our spiritual rituals to connect and to communicate with our ancestors. And so it's really powerful that you bring up Dumisani Maraire, who really was the person who brought mbira music to the United States in the Pacific Northwest. Because the day after the audition, I was flying to Seattle to go and record with his son.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I have to tell the audience that, when I was working on my doctorate, I was going down the path of Western music, European music, because that's the path that I had been on, since high school. And of course, I had a professor who brought him and his ensemble to the University of Alabama. I went to his concert and it literally changed my life. And it was after I heard, because he brought many of his instruments with him. He talked about these African instruments, these Zimbabwean instruments, and all of the things that you just said, and then they played them. And I could have sat for hours to listen to it. Then I realized that while I was going to school to learn about European music, I didn't really know my own music. And before I got out as a professor or someone who was recognized with music, I needed to know about my own music. And so I changed my whole doctoral thesis, my whole doctoral work. I went a totally different way. I credit the creation of the American Spiritual Ensemble with that experience of hearing Duma Marieri. It was a life-changing experience, as they say. Yeah, so that's fascinating that you went out to see his son the next day.
For me, as I knew I wanted to find a voice teacher. I knew that the way I was singing at the time was just a small fraction of what I would be able to do if I found the right teacher. And I was in New York, I had come from Princeton, and people had programs that they suggested for me. But then in the same vein, I was like, a lot of these programs are too Western centric, and I need a home where for my voice, where all aspects of my voice can, are welcomed. So where it's just not me, producing sound in kind of, through a Western idea of sound production, but also that I have the space to share the music that made me. I grew up singing in choirs. My grandmother, my great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, they were all singers. There's a very specific vocal tradition to this instrument, and I also needed a space to be able to express that. For me, my dream has always been to sing my music. That's why I was in school. And so I needed a place that would allow me to synthesize my singer and my composer identities and be able to share that as my academic work. And so I was really looking for a special type of teacher. I will say, before, I want to share a piece actually with the mbira that Dumisani Maraire loved to sing. But I will say, I was really stubborn. As much as I wanted to train my voice, I didn't know if I wanted to go back to school. I was still a little tired from 4 years in the Ivy League. It takes a lot. I remember when I met you and you asked me if I was studying, and I was like, no, I'm not going back to school just yet. Maybe the next year. And you were like, oh, okay. You didn't say anything. And then, Dr. McCorvey, you're literally one of the best teachers I know. And then, first rehearsal, you sat me next to Gerald. I don't know if it was intentional or if it just happened. I was sitting next to the Gerald Cunningham Fleming, the queen of vocal technique. I remember her just sitting, as Gerald sits. I remember her opening her mouth in warm-ups. And I was just like, how do you sound like that? And then she said, you shuffled in her seat. She said, ooh, child, you should just go on down to Kentucky and just go on steady with Dr. McCorvey. just go on. That's what she said. And I was determined. So when we had our break, I remember I walked up to you and I said, Dr. McCorvey, I know I said I wanted to apply maybe next year, but actually I want to come this year. Can I apply now? So I stayed up all night, wrote the statements, did the application, did everything, and sent it to you first thing in the morning.
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
If this is a good point, can I share a song with the mbira? So
absolutely, I would love for you to do that. Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to share a song. So I didn't get to meet Dumisani Maraire. My father knew him very, very well, but his daughter, Chiwoniso Maraire, was one of my mentors. Really, just such a, I can't even begin to put into words how I feel about her. And she actually passed away very young at 37. Wow. You know, this is a song that she used to sing that her father taught her. And it's about a great spirit medium called Chaminuka. And it talks about how Chaminuka really had a vision for the coming of white people to the continent. And he said, you know, that these people are going to come, they will have no knees. And what that meant is that two things, that they would be wearing trousers, so you wouldn't be able to see their knees, but also that they would be very lazy, that they wouldn't have the ability to go on their knees and scrub the floor for themselves. Mm. But he said, you know, you should try to live peaceably with them. Mm. And so this is why a lot of people ask, you know, when these outside influences were coming, when the Portuguese were coming, when the British were coming, why were you so kind? Because the spiritual leadership had said, you know, that you should welcome these people and live peaceably with them. So this is the song Chaminuka that we sing. And, you know, it's a song that we sing encouragingly, but also sadly, because obviously that's not how history turned out. And, you know, colonization happened and then it turned into war. And now here we are today. But it's always a reminder, you know, to at least aspire for community and working together. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. That's great. Well, Tanyaradzwa, it's been a joy to talk with you and to have you as a part of our community conversations. And you are just an inspiration to us all. And you're going to be an inspiration to so many singers and artists and creative people who want to give to the world. And so I just can't wait to see what the world has in store for Tanyaradzwa and what Tanyaradzwa has in store for the world. So thank you all. Thank you so much for being here. And we'll look forward to the time when we can be together again.
Thank you.
Thank you.